Hola, hola! Welcome to the Breakthrough Brand Show. I'm Fabi Paolini, and my mission on this podcast is to give you the behind-the-scenes stories, anecdotes, and unique perspectives behind building a premium brand that makes a real impact. I believe that when you create a message that is aligned with your truth, you can have the breakthroughs that changes lives. Each week, me and my guests share with you how we're making an impact with our message and the stories behind our success. So that being said, let's dive into today's episode. Well, today I am delighted to bring on a super special guest, which has so much in common with me, or we have a lot in common. It's Fabienne Fredrickson. She is a beloved mentor to thousands of women in business online. She's the founder of boldheart.com. She reverse engineered how to scale her business to several million annually while remaining powerfully feminine. And I'm really excited to have her here. Welcome, Fabienne. So happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be with you too. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so obviously most people know me as Fabi, but my actual name is Fabiana, which is the Spanish version of her name. So just one of the things that we have in common. Anyways, tell me, Fabiana, a little bit more about what it is that you do in your own words.
In my own words, I help women make their own money and lots of it. And what I've realized over the last 22 years of helping women grow and then scale their businesses is that women, especially when they make their own money and lots of it, they have a voice and a choice. But a lot of them don't know how to grow a business. The best way to make your own money, I believe, is to be successfully self-employed. So I teach women how to get from overwhelmed at 6 figures to 7 figures with 14 weeks of unplugged vacations per year.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and we do that through the concept of leverage. I have a leverage program. I wrote a book called The Leveraged Business. And the way that my mind thinks is in terms of leverage, whatever I do, is what's the smallest amount of work or change that I can create or that I put in to create the greatest output. So the whole message is for you to get to 7 figures, you actually have to work less.
I've been learning that.
Yeah, stop doing what you're doing, because whatever got you to 6 figures is never going to get you to 7 figures, period.
That's amazing. Well, okay, so let's kind of unpack some of this, but I actually want to ask you first how you got here. How did you understand or uncover this concept of leverage? I want to hear a little bit more about your own journey and your own business.
Yes, I'm happy to share. 22 years ago, I left corporate to open up a nutrition practice. And what I realized is, oh my God, it's a lot harder to sell. I used to be in sales, to sell yourself than it is to sell other people's stuff. And what I realized in the very beginning, this was again, like so long ago, little Fabienne on the phone who didn't know what she was doing. I realized that you could try doing a million things to get clients, but if you just do a few things that produce the most results, you can actually fill your practice to full capacity without working so hard. So I created the client attraction system back then. That's what I got known for initially. And then when I got to a full practice at 6 figures, I had no more time and no more of me to go around. And I was working evenings and weekends, and my beloved husband said, "Are you sure you can handle any more clients? We never see you." And that was like, oh, but I know I'm made for more. And I feel like I want to have it all, whatever all means to me. There must be a way. There must be a way for me to make 20K, 50K, 75K a month, 100K a month, 300,000 a month, working less. And so I started investigating and looking at like, wait, everybody thinks that doing more will create more results, but this is actually where I had huge epiphanies, one after the other, realizing you need a new strategy. And so whatever hard work, sheer will, like long evenings, doing everything, the control enthusiast. I've got to be the one to work with the clients one-to-one, or else they won't get results, or they won't pay for me, or all of that. That is not going to get you to seven figures. You need a new mindset, you need a new formula, and you need to actually work less. And when I figured that out for myself, in 1 year, in 2008, so about 15 years ago, when the whole financial crisis was happening in the US, that's when I took my business from 380,000 to just over 1 million for the first time. And that's when other women started to say, okay, how are you doing this with a newborn and two toddlers, toddlerish? And I said, let me show you. First, you got to leverage your team, your systems, your time, your business model, etc. And that's when I stopped teaching straight client attraction as much, because there's plenty of people teaching you how to get clients. Nobody out there teaches you how to go from overwhelmed at six figures to seven figures without being masculine, without selling your soul, without feeling that you have to be to do bro marketing, bro selling, bro pitching. I don't know a single woman who wants to do that.
No.
She wants to remain herself and have it all, including a very high quality of life and family time. That's
100%.
what happened to me.
I love that. How interesting. So, okay, tell me, how does one begin to figure what to leverage out in their own business? I think that would be a great question to kind of unpack with this.
Okay. So for the people who are listening, who are not yet at seven figures, you have to realize that there is no such thing as a self-made millionaire. That is like, it doesn't exist. Because in the beginning, to get to six figures, you basically have to do everything yourself. Yeah, maybe you have a VA, two VAs, you get some help. But this whole idea of the control, I'm not going to say control freak, but the control enthusiast, that was really important in the beginning because you didn't have cash, so you had to do everything yourself. That person, that control enthusiast, is the one that's creating all the problems. That's getting in the way, the bottleneck. When everything has to be touched by you to get out the door, then you can't grow. So the first thing to be leveraged is a team. And it starts with a mindset. First, you have to leverage your mindset and be like, okay, so I can't actually get to seven figures and do everything myself. It's about leveraging a team that you can trust, by hiring properly, using a certain number of assessments. They're all in the book. And once you use those, you have that team in place and you can start delegating and get back about 6 hours per day when you follow the bold heart process. When you have 6 hours back per day, you start using your time differently. You start leveraging your time. And instead of being the one that does everything, instead of allowing people to hijack your time, instead of using your time for busy work, you use it for EGAs, exponential growth activities only. Only the things that will get you to 1 million are the things that you work on during the day. Everything else is delegated. And the way you can do that is you have the team, leverage systems, everything is documented, and you become, I may be throwing a lot of concepts at you at the same time, but that's when you become a process-driven company, as opposed to the Fabienne show or the Fabi show or the Jane and Susan show. It becomes about your process and your intellectual property.
I love that. And, it's so interesting because I think that where I'm at personally in my own businesses, kind of going through that type of process and learning that type of control is actually the worst thing that you can, not the worst thing, because I think that control will get you so far, but it's really about learning how to let go of control and let other people be in their zone of geniuses while you stay in yours and have your time focus on the things that matter most, right?
Yeah, but here's the problem. That's great in theory, and
Mm-hmm.
most people who are overwhelmed at six figures understand that they need to delegate, but one, they've never been taught how to hire
Right.
skillfully. So yes, they know about hiring for skill set and for experience, but they don't know about wiring, how you need a person who's wired for that particular position. They don't know what assessments, I didn't know this in the beginning, what assessments to have that
Mhm.
person take. And they don't realize that culture fit is such a huge part of us being able to let go of the white knuckling, right? Control, like helicopter parenting our team. When we have the right person in the right seat with the right wiring and the culture fit and the experience and the skill set, we can actually exhale and start to let go and let go some more.
Mhm.
And when you know how to delegate instead of drive by delegating, like, I need this ASAP, and figure out how to do it. When you know how to delegate to get things done the way you want to, you shift as a person. You start saying, oh, I don't have to control everything here. Let them do it. And that is the start of a totally different business. That's when you can delegate some of the work, meaning the work with the clients.
Mhm.
You can delegate some of the marketing. You can delegate some of the selling. You can delegate all of the admin. And that's when you start creating marketing assets and a business model that both are not dependent on you anymore. And that gives you your evenings, your weekends back, and has you very quickly ramp up your business.
Exactly. For me, I always have this sensation that, to me, ultimate success is being able to create freely. And I mean, at least that's what I personally feel like, because I love creating. I love writing. I love doing video. I love anything that has to do with creating content. And for me, I feel the most successful in my business when I can do more of that, right? If I have to be doing work that I mean, I haven't done admin work in years, but if I have to be doing things in my business that it's like, ah, I have to be doing this, where I would want to instead be doing, like, be creating, I know that that's something that tells me, okay, there's something that needs to shift. If I'm spending my time focusing on this task that I don't need to be focused on because it's taking me away from creating, there's something there. So I guess where I'm going with this also is asking you, how does one know that it's time for them to delegate? Because I think that it's a good kind of thing that you would doubt, like, when's the right time? How do I know in terms of my cash flow, or what do I need to delegate? I mean, I guess that question might be easier to answer, but more about when's the right time for that to happen.
The right time is yesterday. I hate to say it. The sooner you begin to delegate to somebody who's highly qualified, and by the way, they're not expensive. You can hire somebody who's world class and somebody who's mediocre for the exact same salary.
Yeah,
We
that's true.
just don't, again, like we've never been taught how to do this part. So people are like, "Ugh, I can't." Of course you can. You just
Mhm.
need to know where to find them and who they need to be. But once you have that person, you realize that there are countless things that you should not be doing every day. You shouldn't be working on stuff you don't know how to
Mhm.
do, you don't like to do, you don't have time to do. Your number one thing when you're at six figures and you want to, seriously, you want to get to seven figures with your life back, you
Mhm.
need to be working on the exponential growth activities, and you step into the true role of the entrepreneur, which is the visionary.
Mhm.
So the visionary is the person who has the big ideas, who does the big culture, the big business development, but none of the day-to-day things. Your job is to um, innovate and create content like you and create assets
Mm-hmm.
that can live long after you. I know when I first started my business, this would seem like, what? This makes no sense. But from this vantage point, I've been at multiple seven figures for 15 years now. Your number one job, if I had to talk to like Fabienne 15 years ago, is to innovate and create from your unique brilliance perspective, right? Really like lean into all your strengths and delegate everything else. And the sooner you do it, the sooner you will multiply your business and get your life back.
That's amazing. There was an interview that I recently read from Jeff Bezos, and he was talking about how they were asking him something about like what happened in the last quarter in his business. And he was like, last quarter, I'm 4 quarters ahead. My brain, like, that's the past. Like, or like even what's happening in the next 4 months is the past. Like, my brain is not even there. I don't even care about that. I'm in like 3 years ahead, right? So kind of speaking to what you're saying, it's your job is to really be thinking about that big vision and innovating towards the future. All right. So we talked about delegating and building your team and working your mindset towards that. What other areas can you leverage in your business so that you can scale while having your life back, or while still having your life, I guess?
So most of us started our business working with clients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, it was once I switched out of nutrition and once I created my client attraction system, I had clients. The system worked. So the word spread. Oh, like, yeah, if you want clients, you call Fabienne. And there was little me on the phone delivering 30-minute calls, like 30 people every week. And I thought, I can't make more money, so raise your rates. So I would raise my rates every 3 to 6 months, and it didn't change anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, I remember this is when I had my daughter. So this was 20 years ago. She was a baby. And I remember I used to coach from the bathroom because like we had the baby in the other room. And one day I was in the bathroom coaching and I said the same thing 7 times in one day.
Oh my gosh.
Just 7 different clients. And I was like, well, I love each of these individual clients. This is not the best use of my time.
Mm-mm.
I started thinking, is there a proven system? Is there a methodology, a framework, a step-by-step process that if everybody did it and I could deliver that to more people at once than one-on-one, what would happen to my life, and what would happen to people getting proven results? And I started shifting my business model and teaching one-to-many. And at first, and whenever I teach somebody now to leverage their business model and to lean on their intellectual property rather than being the one to deliver the work, I started noticing that the community aspect is a really big part of it.
Yeah.
I thought people say, oh, I don't want, my clients don't want to be part of a group. Yeah, well, if you call it a group, they won't want to be part of it. But if it's a community and there is this think tank, this mastermind, when you shift your business model from one to many, everything shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you can work. I started working with 12 people at the same time, and then 30 people at the same time, and then 150 people at the same time, and then 300 people at the same time. Obviously, you have less work to do.
Right.
You make more as a company, but you have more time to innovate. And so the whole idea is, how can you leverage your intellectual property and create an environment where your clients actually get better results in your program, in your leveraged program, than they do working with you one-to-one. If you, I talk about this in a mini documentary that was done about Bold Heart, my business. If you go to YouTube, or you can even go to boldheart.com to find it, but you can look it up on YouTube, Bold Heart Business documentary. The whole thing is about how the clients actually need each other to get better results than if they were just with me. I recommend that for everybody's business, is to remove yourself from the one delivering the results and instead lean on an environment and a process that guarantees the results without you being the one to drive them.
I love that. It kind of mirrors a lot similarly to what happened in my own business as well. I began doing one-on-one work exclusively. And I felt like when I was at a point where I was bringing in enough clients that it was starting to become an issue in terms of my time as well, is when I shifted to doing my group program. This is Breakthrough Brand, which I launched in 2018, the first time. And I still to this day have one-on-one clients, but fewer. I don't have as many as I used to do. So in the beginning, it was like 90% were one-on-one clients, and then 10% were group programs. And little by little, that started shifting, basically. And it's so interesting because, for example, the group of people that I have in my program right now, and I've set it up in a way, by the way, where my one-on-one clients still get access to the group coaching calls as well, and to the community and to everything, because I feel like I do it for a variety of reasons, but building that group is really important. And the group that I have right now, I'm really experiencing a lot of what you're saying, where the level of support that they're giving each other is really powerful. And it's kind of doing such a good job of doing my own job of, okay, well, you're answering your questions on your own. I mean, and they're monitoring, or my team is monitoring things, right? But it's like, okay, I'm literally experiencing what you're talking about. And it's such a beautiful and interesting process to see. But at the same time, though, and obviously it's going to depend on where people are, you also, I kind of feel like when you're in the beginning phases of building your business, I do think that there's a great place for you to begin with one-on-one work so that you understand and build out your process. But the moment that starts becoming an issue in terms of your time, where you're, or not even an issue, but the moment that you're like, okay, every month I'm bringing in 3-4 one-on-one clients, is the moment that you say, okay, I need to turn this into a group program. Great in the beginning for you to get that information, but then you need to shift it as fast as you possibly can and leverage different people in, so that, and when I say leverage different people, is bringing in other coaches or people that can support you so that you can also kind of take back your time, right?
I agree with you 100%. And one of the things I say a lot is that the fastest path to cash in the beginning is individual clients.
100%, yeah.
Because many of us don't have, in the very beginning, we don't have the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the knowledge, the framework. We don't have enough oof, that didn't work. I got to do things differently, or whoa, that really worked. I need to do this a lot more. With that, you need that experience in the beginning, at least a couple of years. That's my belief system. And then once you've got this well-oiled machine and you're like, I'm on to something, that's when you can leverage your intellectual property and then create an environment where people not just learn from you, but learn through the process and learn from each other as well.
100%. I feel like actually building a group program before you're ready for it can actually end up hurting your business because of the confidence piece. If you're selling a group program and there's only one person in that group because you're not at a point yet where you know how to enroll enough people, it's 100% going to hurt your confidence. And like, okay, how do I show up to this group coaching call where there's only one person, or getting the results or whatever? So yeah, I love that. Okay. So last question that I want to ask you, kind of shifting gears a little bit. So for me, personal development and mindset work have been crucial in building my business. Can you tell me a little bit about what that has been for you, and how do you prioritize it in your own life and your own business?
Mindset has been everything. If you look at this book that I wrote, this is 100% mindset. We have at Bold Heart a mindset first methodology. I'll explain why. And you probably do the same in your own business. You can tell somebody, here's your brand. I can tell somebody, here's how you're going to get to 7 figures. But if we don't deal with the beliefs, the fears, the self-image, the rules that have been lodged into our subconscious since the age of 7, it doesn't matter how good the brand plan is. It doesn't matter how great the client attraction plan or the strategy to get to 7 figures. You cannot take action on things you don't believe. If you understand, I taught a 3-day mindset retreat 21 times. Like I've taught
Wow.
a 3-day event, right? 21 times to tens of thousands of people. And the process is always dream a bigger dream, and then allow yourself to see all of the resistance come up. Essentially, Fabi, people call me a business coach, but I'm in the resistance busting game.
I like that.
What I do is like, okay, I put people on the Fabienne stretcher. What do you mean you want to make 100,000? Let's go to 250,000. I stretch them lovingly to dream a bigger dream, understanding metaphysics and the quantum field and the fact that everything is actually possible.
Right.
And then we sit back and we watch for all the resistance to come up. And then my job is to undo the resistance. And through mindset work, right?
Right.
And when you turn the beliefs around, when you change the wealth consciousness, when you increase the self-image, the belief in self, did I say confidence already? Confidence. When you put a woman in what I call the popcorn bowl. You know how you make your own popcorn? I don't know if you cook. I cook.
I do.
Lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're not doing a Jiffy Pop, but you're actually putting the corn kernels in the oil,
right.
And you put the lid on, and there's one that pops, like the first one that pops, and then they all don't pop at the same time. But it creates a chain reaction. When you put a woman in the right community, this is why I would love for whoever's listening to go to YouTube and watch that Bold Heart Business documentary. When you have put a woman in a community and all of a sudden, pop, she sees in her mastermind that the other woman just got to 1 million, you don't need to say anything. It changes her on a visceral level.
Right.
And then pop. Not everybody pops at the same time. So you're in this community, you're in this pot of oil, and you're like, pop. And then, like a week or a month later, pop. Like it changes you, and you start to believe in yourself. And so removing the resistance and changing the mindset is 95% of the game, which is, it's been proven.
Yeah.
Because, right? Maybe you've heard of it, and maybe you teach this as well. But most people focus too much on the strategy. Strategy is easy. I give the strategy, you give the strategy. But the reason, if somebody is not yet at 7 figures, is because there's resistance. And so it's about dreaming a bigger dream. 2, understanding what the resistance is. And 3, removing the resistance to implementation.
Exactly.
And when you have that, there is no way you cannot get to 7 figures and multiple 7 figures with a delicious life.
I love that. Ooh, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I love ending with that. Tell us where people can find you. I mean, you've talked about the YouTube, the documentary, but anywhere else or anything that you want to promote, go ahead.
I would, if anyone is curious about how to get to 7 figures, I would go to boldheart.com. I would get the book called The Leveraged Business on that website, but most especially just to stretch your belief of what you think is possible for yourself. I would click on, maybe it's called like member success stories, and just watch video after video after video of normal women that you would see on the grocery store line. They're explaining how they got to 7 figures and take like 8 weeks of unplugged vacations. stretch your belief about what you think is possible for yourself, you can go to boldheart.com for that.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was lovely having you.
Gracias for listening to today's episode of the Breakthrough Brand Show. To listen to more episodes or to be featured as a guest, go to fabipaolini.com/podcast for more details. Can I ask you for something? If you got value out of this episode, would you share it on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or just post it online. If you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let me know about the show and include the hashtag Breakthrough Brand Show. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We're regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure that you don't miss any episode, go ahead and subscribe right now. Your thumbs up, rating, amor, love, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean so much to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, fabipaolini.com, or follow me everywhere as Fabi Paolini. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Con amor, Fabi.